remember in Titanic, when I watched Titanic, we were crying that, oh my God, Jack is done, you know?
Yeah.
And one guy next to me, he was like laughing. He's like, Jack ki to kulfi jam gayi yaar. And I said, kulfi? And my sister and I looked at each other and we were like, who's this guy? You know, that's life. That's life for you. You know?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love that. I love it. I remember once we finished filming the scene, I kind of spoke to him and I asked him, I said, how are you feeling? And, are you okay? And he was a little quiet and, a bit, all he said, death always comes at a very inconvenient time. And then he just smiled and he's like, there is no good time for something like this to happen. And I'm just happy that I'm working. And, it was just so, I think it was very inspiring to see somebody just go through something like that and be so committed to what he needed to do. I'll never forget that. That experience for me went beyond, just the usual stuff you learn as an actor. Can we call Interstellar sci-fi?
Yeah.
So
That's
Interstellar is my number one. Number one. Interstellar. Forever.
Yeah.
It is something that I can't have enough of. It's a film that I can rewatch any number of times.
Nimrat, thank you so much for your time. And you look amazing in that look. Whenever you're around, there's a lot of positive vibe that we get to sort of, just feel. And even though this is virtual, I know this is going to be a very, very positive interview because that's how my interactions with you have always been.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. And this time we're talking about foundation. Nimrat, I was just going through what David Goyer and Alexander Gravis has said about you. And David, for all the viewers, I'll quickly give them an insight. He had said that I wanted to work with Nimrat ever since I was charmed by her in the lunchbox. And after he saw you in Homeland, it was confirmed that you were on board. How much does that compliment and appreciation mean?
I feel very grateful. Look, I mean, I'm an Indian actor. I live in India. I live in Mumbai. I feel very grateful and blessed when people from a different industry and such, with such great quality of work behind them, feel that way about me and my talent and my skill set and what I bring to the table. It's always very encouraging and it feels really special to be able to work in two different industries and, kind of just have that opportunity. It really feels great.
And we have to also get to you what Alexander, of course, but this is for our viewers. He had said to say we were thrilled when she accepted the offer would be an understatement. He was really looking forward to the association.
No, he's very generous. Alex is one of the finest directors I've ever worked with. He's so cool and so gifted with bringing the best out of actors. When he's working with them, he's so intuitive and just such a genius with his, just with the way he collaborates. I worked with him previously on 2 seasons in Homeland, and that's how I know Alex. And a very big part of why I chose to do, Yana Seldon's part in Foundation is because I knew I'll be in the best hands. I'll be working with Alex Graves. You have David Goyer that I'd never worked with, and I'd only, kind of read about his insane the work that he's done. And then there's Jared Harris, as if it wasn't already incredible. There's Jared Harris, whom I had all my scenes with. And, there are very few times in your life and in your career that you get to work with actors where they're going to add value and so much depth to what you otherwise can sometimes run out of, So it was really a no-brainer. I was very, very grateful to them.
Yes. So, every actor has a method, when it comes to executing the role that they have. There's some actors who've said that, they always mark their scripts in different colors just to understand the mood of their character. Is there a strategy that you swear by and you would like to sort of, just share with us?
So I actually write all my dialogue. I write it.
Wow.
Because I believe that if you write your lines, you learn them in a way that otherwise doesn't happen, So I write all my dialogue. So that's something that helps me learn my lines. And for me, lines are sacrosanct. I really love the page a lot. I love to know everything, the other actor's going to say and I'm going to say. Maybe my training's such. I've done plays and, where no amount and no number of times you read the script is enough. So my schooling is that. And I really, that's the one thing I feel like never fails, to know your lines well. Because then once you reach set, you can actually have fun. Because physically and emotionally, I can only get from point A to point B if I know my lines, if I know what I'm saying. And if they're almost like second nature. Because if I have to think of कि मेरे को आगे क्या बोलना है, then I will not know how to move or how to think. So for me, lines are very important, and no amount of times that you can do your lines is enough for me.
Yes.
So I'm from that.
Yes, and I'm sure this entire experience was both thought-provoking but also very different. If I had to ask you what's been the biggest learning for you as an actor, and what was the biggest learning for your co-stars when they were sharing the screen space with you, what would that be?
You mean in foundation or generally?
Yes, in foundation. In foundation.
Well, I'll tell you about an incident which was probably one of the most extraordinary and unexpected things that I've ever encountered on set. So we shot my portions in 2 schedules. One was in Tenerife in the Canary Islands in January 2022, and the second was in April that year in Prague. And the second time around when I went there, I already obviously knew Jared by then, and I'd worked with the crew and everything, so nobody was new to me. So I ended up being on a set that was gorgeous. It felt like as if I was in like a dark studio where it was just like an endless feeling of a staircase, very surreal in its way, refractive surfaces, the lighting and all was so mysterious. I didn't know where the camera was. It was one of the most, I would say, surreally designed scenes that I have ever attempted. And Jared was a little bit quiet that day and not his usual warm and, sprightly self. And then I figured a little bit later in the day that he actually lost his mother. And his mother was yet to be buried, and the family was just waiting for him to land up back in London, I think. And he was just working through it all just to make sure that that they don't go off schedule, and he was just trying to meet his professional commitments. And just the way in which he went about doing those scenes, knowing that his mother is no longer alive, and for anyone at any age and stage in life, your mother's your mother. And to watch him do that in spite of what had happened to him in such a big, tragic, personal way, it's a life lesson. It's something that I have really, really been so moved by. It's one thing to say the show must go on, but it's another thing to actually watch it go on and sort of participate in that and see, how a person actually gets by. And when I remember once we finished filming the scene, I kind of spoke to him and I asked him, I said, how are you feeling? And, are you okay? And he was a little quiet and, a bit, all he said, death always comes at a very inconvenient time. And then he just smiled and he said, there is no good time for something like this to happen. And I'm just happy that I'm working. And, it was just so, I think it was very inspiring to see somebody just go through something like that and be so committed to what he needed to do. I'll never forget that. That experience for me went beyond, just the usual stuff you learn as an actor.
Yes, yes. Now you play Yana in Foundation. If you had to give one advice to your character, what would that be?
Oh, Yana was so sweet and so lovely, and I would tell her not to be so trusting, so easily trusting.
Right.
She was a bit naive and a bit too trusting.
Is that how you are in real life? Do you sort of trust quite
Sometimes yes.
instantly?
Yeah, sometimes yes, to my loss. At sometimes, I trust too easily. I take things at face value. And it's important to know that not every time, what you see is what you get. And it takes all odds and sorts to make the world, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, so it has backfired? Has it ever backfired?
Yeah, it has. Of course it has. I have blindly trusted people in my inner circle and, sometimes given people more access than they deserve. But I'm learning and I'm quick to bring my power back from people. And I know that, we'll always continue to make mistakes. I'm human. I know that I'll always continue to do that. But I think it's important to bring your power back and to center it back within you whenever you realize that you have perhaps let go of a little too much of it. So I try.
Yes. And, Foundation is a very amazing series because it talks about crucial individuals transcending space and time as they overcome, deadly crisis. As a viewer and as an actor both, what actually stood out for you when it comes to Foundation?
The people, number one. Alex Graves, David Goyer, Jared Harris. These were my first points of attraction towards wanting to do this. And my sheer love for science fiction. I'm a huge science fiction fan. I have loved this genre from time's time. I love that flight of fantasy, and when it's done well, and if it like speaks to me, I love it. So these were my top two reasons, and just the opportunity to be a part of that canvas and that universe. You're kind of immortalized in a world that's there forever, and it's got a cult following. You can't underestimate that. So everything about it was like a tick, 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 tick.
Wow.
So yeah.
And are you also keeping your fingers crossed for Emmy nominations and, of course, also Emmy win for Foundation?
Well, it's a guest appearance. I wish the entire team, all the success and accolades which they so indeed, so truly deserve. I'm very happy to be a part of it, a small part of it. Yeah.
Yes. And my second last question, have you also been a big fan of sci-fi series? I mean, which is that one series that you would like to recommend to all the viewers?
So series, not so much, but the one film that I have never been able to get out of my system is Minority Report.
Okay.
It is my all-time favorite. And of course, can we call Interstellar sci-fi?
Yeah.
So Interstellar is my number one. Number one. Interstellar. Forever.
Yeah.
It is something that I can't have enough of. It's a film that I can rewatch any number of times.
So there are a lot of people who could understand the film Interstellar, and then there's a section who that would just go to the cinema just to enjoy it without even understanding what the movie was all about. So there was one guy who was sitting right next to me when I was reviewing the film, and what he said towards the end was, "यार ये बाद में स्वर्ग चला गया क्या?"
That's quite sweet. That's quite cute. But I think it's what what the joy of going to the movies is, which is what I actually really love a lot. By going to the theater to watch a movie, I love that. I love these experiences because that's what a movie going experience offers. Where you could be crying and like I remember in Titanic when I watched Titanic, we were crying that, oh my God, Jack is dead. And one guy next to me, he was like laughing. He's like, Jack ki to kulfi jam gayi yaar. And I said, kulfi? And my sister and I looked at each other and we were like, who's this guy? That's life. That's life for you.
Yes.
I love that. I love it.
I think these Hindi versions, the Hindi dubbed versions of all, these popular English movies is something that we really need to watch just for the enjoyment factor. And my last question, Nimrat, you're on Apple TV. Foundation, of course, remains will be one of the most watched series as well. But give us your recommendations. If you had to ask you, those 3 series that you would like to recommend to all your fans, series that they can watch on Apple TV, what would those be?
So the morning show, Ted Lasso, and C.
Oh, Ted Lasso, who's your biggest, your favorite player? I mean, the favorite character, let's say.
Um, Can we come back to that? It's very difficult for me to choose a favorite character. But I would also love to talk about Dune here. I know it's not a series.
Yes. It's
Oh my God, I can't wait for Dune Part 2.
It's just released. The trailer has just been released, and we're all waiting for the movie to hit the theaters because we know what we can expect from the film.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. But thank you so much for your time. Lovely speaking to you, and lovely recommendations that you had given to us. Thank you for
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.